In terms of content, Star Wars is in no short supply. Yet, that doesn't mean the franchise has a direction or that it's thriving. We have The Mandalorian, a series that started off as a simple story about a bounty hunter and a child, yet now, while still enjoyable, seems to be solely dedicated to celebrating everything Star Wars, instead of telling its own original story. Then we have Andor, a series with a grounded and well-produced story that is a breath of fresh air in terms of production quality, yet at the end of the day, it is still only a 2-season spin-off show that has to end exactly where Rogue One began. The Bad Batch is another spin-off show of the Clone Wars about the early days of the Empire. Jedi Survivor is a sequel to Jedi Fallen Order about an Order 66 survivor in the early days of the Empire. The Ahsoka series is another spin-off show from The Mandalorian set between seasons 3 and 4. Skeleton Crew is another spin-off show of The Mandalorian set between seasons 3 and 4. And there are a string of announced movies, shows, games, and filmmakers that may or may not ever be anything more than an announcement done at a corporate PowerPoint presentation or online publication announcements written by any Lucasfilm affiliated press. This isn't even covering the endless factions of fans now split up into groups desperately hoping that their personal interests are met, and every new spin-off feels like it's geared towards trying to meet those demands, trying to find a target demographic. The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett for the original trilogy fans, Andor for the Rogue One fans, the Bad Batch for the Clone Wars fans, the Ahsoka series for the Clone Wars fans, the Kenobi series for the prequel fans, the Acolyte for the High Republic fans. Then there's also the Rebel fans who are either hoping the Ahsoka series follows up their story from the animated series, or that there is an animated Rebels sequel somewhere out there that tells the story they've been waiting for. And even the sequel trilogy fans are hoping, praying that Damon Lindelof's film will give them more sequel trilogy content. There are all these projects, wants and desires conflict and compete with each other. And then there's Lucasfilm, a studio with a president who was originally only supposed to be a co-chairman, who may or may not be reaching the end of her time with no successor in sight as far as the public is concerned. The studio that was known for original stories that now keeps pumping out spin-offs and sequels without any rhyme or reason. That's not even touching on Indiana Jones 5 that needs to earn $800 million to even break even, and $1 billion just to justify its own existence, or the ever-looming threat of Disney's own failures falling down on Lucasfilm itself, resulting in mass layoffs and budget cuts. The fandom that argues about who understands Star Wars better, the fandom that argues about every single Star Wars creator, who does Star Wars better, who does it worse, who understands it more, George, JJ, Ryan, Dave, John, Tony, your mother, the Amazon delivery guy. It's all just aimless arguing and discussions. Every day there seems to be a new reason why so many are just tired. The endless timeline that changes every single day without a rhyme or reason. The stories and spin-offs that seem like they're just there to exist without any intention of where they will go or what they mean to older stories. And then you have Star Wars fans who are just fatigued from all this. Not because they don't love Star Wars, but because it feels so aimless and lost, and all they can do is hope for things that may never be, or spend their days in discourse that never stops. Maybe the secret is ignorance. Detach yourself from paying attention to all the problems behind the scenes. Maybe the only way to be happy with the directionless state of Star Wars is to just mindlessly consume until eventually there's nothing left to consume, and the doors to Lucasfilm eventually close down as the films no longer can get off the ground, and Disney Plus is finally seen as a complete failure by Disney itself, and they no longer want to take the risk or the L, so they just shut it down and we lose the shows too. Maybe just letting Star Wars slowly die is all we can do. Or maybe we can hope again. Maybe we can look at the stories and the characters that inspired us. Maybe we can remember what it felt like the first time we saw a lightsaber ignite. When we heard Luke Skywalker say,
"I am a Jedi, like my father before me."
Remember every duel. Remember every declaration of love.
So I ran right into you. You looked at me like no one ever had.
Luck! I don't need luck. I have you!
All right. Had you said the word, I would have left the Jedi Order.
I love you.
I know. I wish I could see you.
You could always see me.
Every cry of anguish, remember the wonder, the excitement, the music, the scale, the stories, the different stories of different generations that became their Star Wars. Whatever you care about, whatever you love, whatever got you interested in Star Wars, remember why you cared.